Howdy. So some time ago, I took a time lapse uh, at night because what you see here is the moon, and I noticed those clouds, and I thought there may be the possibility for some auroras or something. Okay, so I just took this time lapse and just let's watch it at original speed with no adjustments or whatsoever. They are all normal. So this is what I watched today. After a few days, and I remembered that, yeah, actually I took that time lapse. And I thought that, yeah, let's see if there's any auroras or something. And this is captured through 4 glasses of window. So 4 times glass. And then we have also the lenses of the camera itself. And this is shot with a GoPro night time lapse. And it's about 5 seconds the interval between the pictures, and yeah, because it's set about five, it's set on 5 seconds, but it says also auto. So I don't know, maybe it's about 3.5 or something. Maybe we can check it out. Frame rate. I checked this before, but it doesn't really say anything. So it doesn't really matter. So let's watch the whole thing again. Let's slow it down a bit to half speed. Now we watch it just once again. You can see the moon here. And I was watching for objects that are not moving and objects that are moving. And since this is half speed of the time lapse, it's not that obvious which things are moving and which are not. And if you look at this area here, you can see the dirt on the windows. Yeah, plural, because there are several layers, and each of the glasses has 2 surfaces, so we are probably watching through 8 surfaces of glass, which is not the best thing to do, but since it has been about, I don't know, 30 degrees below zero, I thought it might be better to keep the camera inside because it would freeze over outside immediately. So now let's play around a bit because I might have captured something very interesting because I yesterday I tried to make a video 3 times, and for some reason there has been the same problem occurring twice, and the third time when I made it I noticed being too frustrated, so I didn't make the whole video. I have to make it later because there's I found something about glaciers and satellite imagery. But let's focus on this. By moving this back and forth, we can observe which objects are moving and which objects don't really move. And for example, I got very intrigued by this thing here because it seems that it appears and disappears. Now it disappears, now it appears, and it's flickering. And we have this zoom thing here, which makes it a bit sketchy. I noticed in the last video because it somehow starts to mirror. And that's, I think it's this one here, which is appearing and disappearing. And that's dirt on the window. But I think that might be a planet. Or is it the other way around? Yeah, actually. I think that's dirt on the window. Because it just, in certain angles, it reflects from the moon, the light, as it refracts in the windows. As you can see this streak here. And as the moon passes by, it doesn't reflect anymore too much. And it doesn't really move. So I think that's the third thing, what we are looking at here. That's on the window, on one of those windows. But this thing here, there are several, I think this is one of those. Let's just first identify a few of those which are moving, so to say, with the moon. We have one here, one here, one here, maybe this one too. Yeah, and there's another one. This doesn't move. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at this one. It moves with the moon. And there's another one. And this one here, this might be some dirt on the window. Some dust particle, ones reflecting a bit light, maybe once again later. And that's a screen reflection, this blue thing here. Let's zoom in just a little bit because it makes it very hard. This one, that's a lens flare. It looks very neat. But that's a lens flare. But that's this one here. I don't think that's a lens flare. Because, check it out. (1,600%). You can see the pixels almost. So now, here is it. It has a certain shape. And I noticed there has been probably some update with this little program here. And I haven't been using this for a while. And I'm not a nerd. So, but let's try. Let's look at this from up close and make this the slowest we can do. Quarter of the original speed. And I will use this tool and we will pan on the moon and on this thing as it traverses. And later on we're going to make some adjustments because Video enhancements. I don't remember seeing this. I was searching for this many times, but this is that was one of the reasons why I got so frustrated with this because it hadn't any enhancements tools, and they are very important to see stuff. So now let's go to 400%. Maybe 5. Yeah. Here we have the moon, and you can see the dirt on the windows, like all those small dots, and you will see them much better later on. That's also some dust dirt particle. Here another one. Now let's just play. You can see how they are staying put as the light behind it traverses. And that's the other thing. And it seems to turn around a bit. Like the right side turns to the left, so to say. You start to see at the end, you start to see features also on the right side, so it somehow seems to indicate that it's turning slowly to the left. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to make a UFO video. Not at all, because I was supposed to make some aurora clouds video, or time lapse at least. The actual video I was supposed to make was about, like I said, glaciers, satellite imagery of a certain glacier. Now let's go to the beginning. And let's zoom in still a bit more. 1,000%. Now you just have to imagine I would put my little finger to my mouth, as we know from Austin Powers. 1,000%. I hope you can see this because this zoom tool is very practical. For me, this is perfectly centered at the screen. Maybe it helps when I keep this mouse cursor close to the object in order to get it centered for you too. I don't know. Yeah, it just turns around. That's maybe the only thing. So now let's enhance this a bit. Where is it? Yeah, I was amazed how well this works. Now first, let's put it to, let's say 170. The brightness. Let's crank up the contrast. Let's keep the saturation. Let's put it down a bit. Yeah, it makes a big difference. Now you probably understood why I haven't used this tool a lot, because there hasn't been any video enhancement tool. Do we have some auroras here? I just noticed this now. But anyway, because it didn't have any of those tools, I was very frustrated because I knew if it would have, you could get stuff like this. What is that? We'll get closer and make some further adjustments still. We just started. So that's the dirt on the window, all those black dots here. You don't have to freak out about these. So where is that's you can see how it goes through the window, how you can see the dirt staying put, gets visible as the light goes by. Yeah, maybe you could watch this as well as a main thing, but that's not the most interesting thing of this video. We are searching for this other guy. This one. Check it out. Somehow the clouds make it more visible in a way. But it keeps the perfect shape. So if it would be a lens flare, it would be very hard for me to believe that a lens flare would be so consistent through all these layers of glass. And it cannot also be something on the window itself because it doesn't change, as I have shown just before, when the moon traverses behind all those glasses. How you can see the dirt on the window is changing all the time, and this doesn't do these kind of, it doesn't experience these kind of changes. It's slowly turns from right to left. You can see on the right side, like it turns like this black dot here in the middle, turns more towards us, so to speak. Let's go to the end quickly. Maybe I have to go like this in order to get one of the last frames. Where is it? Yeah, we are zoomed in very, very heavily. So we just only get the, like, we can see every pixel. Now let's make some further enhancements. Let's play around with this, because I did this already and I noticed that there's a huge difference. Between the enhancements. Let's put this here somewhere. That's probably not the best enhancement. Maybe there's another thing following this here. Another one here. Yeah, there's like this dark area here on the left side, which seems to be very constantly at the same position. Let's go with this. I haven't touched the hue. I don't know what this does. Let's see how it looks. And what's the opposite? Yeah, this looks somehow rather warm. Hue. What is that? Dude. Yeah, somehow it. Let's go back to where it is in the clouds. Because it seems to be better visible when it's behind the clouds a bit. Or in the clouds. I have no idea how high up in the atmosphere it is. Maybe that's too much already. Yeah, somehow it looks like a ship mine, but I doubt that we have some ship mines floating around in the atmosphere. Yeah, with this adjustment, you can almost see it with bare eyes that there's something. You know, it doesn't really. It doesn't really look like a star or one of one of the planets. It doesn't seem to be a lens flare. Some impurity on the glass. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I noticed this maybe an hour ago or something. So I don't have really answers to what we are exactly looking at. Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, there it is. Whatever it is. How many of these we have here? Hey, let's try out. Where is it? Here. Let's put up the contrast with this same contrast. 200. Yeah, that's interesting. Is this one of ours? Who are we? Okay, so now let's put all settings back to normal. Video settings, enhancements, reset. That's the original. It has a light. Why? Why you would need a light up there? I mean, there is, when you're floating around up there somewhere, however high this is, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to have this kind of a light, you know? Or is this some kind of capsule floating around and it's a living room of someone? They're hanging around there, and that's just their window. They are looking down at Earth, having dinner. And when you see something, you can gently turn it around, or you can configure it into which direction you want to have the view, or you want to see Earth or not. Why does it travel exactly at the same speed as the moon does? Where did it go? Yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. If you know what it is, let me know because I'm interested. Thanks.